Hey guys, welcome to the video. Today we're going to be talking about one realistic prediction for each AFC East team in 2020. While you're at it, please like and subscribe, leave a comment down below as those things help my channel grow. Plus, please share the video with your friends or other people that you think will enjoy my channel, as that also helps my channel grow. And I hope you enjoy the video today. My prediction for the Patriots is that Jarrett Stidham will lead the Pats to 7 wins. So the big story in the offseason was that Tom Brady left the Pats for Tampa Bay, or now Tampa Bay. But the Pats aren't devoid of any talent. Yes, they did lose Kyle Van Noy, as well as Jamie Collins and Danny Shelton in free agency, making that defense look a little bit less scary, but that secondary is still really good. They picked up Kyle Duggar in the second round. They still have the McCourties, and they still have Stephon Gilmore, as well as Dante Hightower wreaking havoc as a middle linebacker. So I don't want to focus on the defense. I think they'll still be a solid defensive unit in 2020. Don't forget they were one of the top defensive units last year. So offensively, the Patriots are still a really solid offensive unit. They have Julian Edelman, Mohamed Sanu, and last year's first-round pick N'Keal Harry as their receivers. Don't forget that the Patriots spent a lot of draft capital on getting tight ends in this year's draft, getting multiple tight ends in the middle to later rounds. Plus, their offensive line is still a really solid offensive line with David Andrews, franchise tag Joe Thuney, Marcus Cannon, as well as Shaq Mason. That's one of the better O-lines in the league. Solid veterans all around that O-line. And don't forget about James White and Sony Michel, the two running backs there in New England. Michel is more of that downhill runner, and James White is more of that passing back. And those give Stidham a really good option. And I think Stidham will be able to thrive in that Patriots offense. He has weapons around him. He has a security blanket up front. And I don't think he's going to be as bad as people are going to make him out to seem. The Patriots seem really keen on him, and I think that this Patriots team is going to need to be taken seriously this year. They're not going to be a 4 or 5 win team. I think they could be a 7-win team. So look for the Patriots to get 7 wins in 2020. My Miami Dolphins 2020 prediction is that Emmanuel Ogbah, Shaq Lawson, and Kyle Van Noy will combine for 25 sacks. Hear me out for a second. Ogbah's first 3 seasons in Cleveland were pretty uneventful, but last year in Kansas City, he kind of rejuvenated himself. In 10 games, 4 of which he started, he ended up getting 5.5 sacks, meaning he was on pace for about 9 sacks if he had played all 16 games. Plus, he only started 4 of those games, meaning that he had limited opportunities in 6 of them, meaning that it's not unreasonable to say that if he had started all 10 games last year, he could have had 7 sacks. Now, if he had played all 16 and had 7 sacks in 10 games, he could easily have been on his way to double-digit sacks. So therefore, I'm projecting Ogbah to get about 10 sacks next year, as he'll be one of those better pass rushers on that Dolphins defensive front. On to Shaq Lawson now. Lawson, first 4 years in Buffalo, each season he improved his sack total. First year was 2 sacks, next 2 years was 4 sacks, and then last year was 6.5 sacks. Great thing about him is that he started 0 games last year. Yet he played in 15 and he still got 6.5 sacks, meaning that if he'd started all 15 games, it's not unreasonable to say he would have gotten 8 sacks last year. Added 1.5 sacks or 2.5 sacks as he would have had more playing time. So look for Lawson to be that second or third best pass rusher on that Dolphins defensive front. So he's going to get playing time. And I think 8 sacks, 9 sacks is not out of the question for him. Finally, on to Kyle Van Noy, the former Patriots linebacker, edge defender, do-it-all, whatever, is a system linebacker, and he's going to fit that system in Miami that Brian Flores played in New England. So throughout his career, Van Noy has developed into a better edge rusher as a pass rusher, getting to the quarterback. Last year, he had 6.5 sacks in 15 games. So this year, if he continues that upward trend of adding on to more sacks as his career's progressed, it's not unreasonable to add a half sack or maybe even 1 total sack to get to about 7.5 sacks. Therefore, with Lawson contributing about 8 sacks, Ogbah contributing about 10, and Van Noy contributing about 7, it's not completely out of the question that those 3 will combine in Miami for 25 sacks in 2020. My Buffalo Bills prediction for 2020 is that they will have a top 10 offense. So last year, the Bills, even though Josh Allen had a pretty solid year, John Brown had a good year, as well as the 750 yards from Devin Singletary, the Bills had a below-average offense. However, I think in 2020, they could have a top 10 offense. So they added Stephon Diggs by trading their first-round pick in 2020. from the Vikings, as well as they added him to an already solid wide receiving core in John Brown and Cole Beasley. Add that to Devin Singletary. It's going to be his second year in the NFL. He was injured for a little bit, so he's going to have a full season. He'll probably be able to get to 1,000 yards rushing. They added Zach Moss in the third round, as well as they have, you know what? They don't have the worst offensive line in the league. They have a younger offensive line that's definitely going to progress as well as get better this year. And we already know what I think about Josh Allen. If you've seen my other videos, you know that I have him as a potential MVP candidate. So for me, the Bills being a top 10 offense is not out of the picture. I think the addition of Diggs really just puts them over the edge, and I think Allen is just going to bubble with talent in 2020, and he's going to overflow, and his big arm, his legs are going to just carry that Bills offense into a top 10 statistical offense in 2020. My Jets prediction for 2020 is that they will have one of the league's worst offenses. So let's start with the bright spots on the Jets offense. Sam Darnold is a solid quarterback in the NFL. However, I don't think there are enough weapons around him, especially in Adam Gase's weird offense, for him to really succeed in New York. He's a talented quarterback, but I don't think he has the tools to succeed. Now, Le'Veon Bell is a really interesting player here. We know what he was capable of doing in Pittsburgh, but last year in New York, he just couldn't get it going. And I think that was really due to the bad offensive line. And although the New York Jets spent a lot of draft capital, obviously getting Mekhi Becton in the first round on their O-line, as well as signing Connor McGovern and Greg Van Roten, I don't really think their offensive line is that much improved to really just completely change their offense. Mekhi Becton, I don't think was the pick there, because Becton is super raw, and I think a wide receiver could have better suited their needs. Because after all, they did end up losing Robbie Anderson in free agency to the Panthers, and they now have Jamison Crowder and Brashad Perryman, and they picked up Denzel Mims in the draft. So their wide receiving core is just really lackluster. There's no star power there, and I think Darnold's really going to struggle to lead this Jets offense. So look for the Jets to be one of those bottom-tier offenses, somewhere between 30 and 32 in 2020. Now that you've reached the end of my video, I want to thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe as it helps my channel out, and check out my other videos on my channel. Also, you can follow my Instagram, the link is in the description down below, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, see ya.